Hi everyone, Sharon here from Lilydale Library. How are you all? I'm going to share some eco-friendly ideas on Christmas gift wrapping with you. So we're going to look at making bows out of old books and music scores. We're going to look at wrapping up gifts in pieces of material like hessian or tea towels. And we're also going to look at potato printing onto different upcycled surfaces that you might have. Okay, let's begin. The first idea I'm going to show you is how to make a paper bow. We're going to do this using old book pages. You could use music scores, or alternatively you could use newspaper. I'm going to use a page from a book. I'm going to cut off about a third of the page. This will be the centre of the bow, and I'm going to cut 2 strips. One very thin piece, which will be the centre, and one slightly wider piece, which will be the tails of the bow. Okay, let's begin. First of all, with the piece I've got to cut out, which is going to be the centre of the bow, I'm going to screw that up, because it makes it easier to squish up, and it just looks better. I'm going to pinch this in the middle, like so. Now you can make these bows in any size, so you could use a bigger piece of paper. I'm going to get the strip. I've got one that I've already folded here. You want to fold that up quite thin like this. Now we're going to put some glue along this. You want to use a fair bit of glue. I've just got some white PVA here. So if you wanted to do this with kids, you would be fine. You could alternatively, you could also use a glue gun or some craft glue. I just find white glue is easier to use and it's better for the environment. Now I've got lots of glue on this, and all I'm going to do is just glue this around itself to the back. If there's too much paper, just cut it off. So that makes the centre of your bow. Then once you've glued it on, then you can play around with it. You could also cut the edges so they look better. So that's what it looks like so far. But remember, you can squish it around to whatever you like. The last piece of paper I've got is a long piece. Now I'm going to fold this in half. If it's too wide, which this piece is for me, I'm just going to cut it off a little bit further. And I'm going to cut the ends so it looks like the ribbons of the bow. So like this, it should look like this. So I'm just going to fold it out like that. Now I'm going to put a little dab of glue just up here so it holds it. I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the top. And I'm just going to stick the back of the bow on there. So now we have a bow. They're very easy to make. And like I said, you can make them from all different types of old paper that you might have. You might want to use brown paper, whatever you like. So here's our bow. Okay, the first gift wrapping idea I'm going to share with you is wrapping with bits of material like hessian. Now I'm not going to use hessian today, so I'm just going to pop that out the way. I'm going to use some vintage tea towels, which I've got just from the op shop. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap up a bottle. You want 1 tea towel for this. Now it should be folded in half. You want to unfold it. Just pop your bottle inside. Make sure the top of it is sitting flush. We're going to roll up the bottle. Now you need to roll it tightly so that it will stand properly afterwards. When you've rolled it, on the bottom it should look like this. And all you need to do is just tie something around the top. I'm going to use a piece of material here I've got, which is to make a bow. So I'm just going to tie it up. Alternatively, there's other things you could use. I've got some baker's twine here. You could tie in those paper bows that we've already made, or you could use some raffia. I also have some green raffia there. All of these are things that people could reuse, and also they're sustainable. So there's my first one. So your bows will probably look a bit nicer than mine. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap up a cylinder so it looks a bit like a Christmas bonbon. We're just going to turn the tea towel around this time, lay it down flat, make sure that the picture's on the bottom of the table. We're going to get our cylinder, put it in the middle of the tea towel, then we're going to roll it up like this. This one I'm just going to use a piece of baker's twine because we don't really need a perfect bow or anything for this one. You might like to though. You could tie in your the bows we made, or you could use raffia, or you could use material like I used before, like a strip of hessian or a strip of tartan that I've got there. There we go. So these are the two ideas I'm showing you, but there's lots of ideas that you can either find online or find in books, which we have in the library. Right, for my last idea, we're going to make gift wrapping paper. I'm going to do this using potato printing. For this, you'll need a potato, knife to cut your potato in half, some cookie cutters, a cutting board, some paper for printing onto, some paint. Now if you're going to print onto material, you might like to use fabric paint, but this is just ordinary poster paint, and some sponges. Right, let's begin. Okay, let's make our potato stamps. So there's two different types we're going to make. We're going to make a raised stamp like that one, and we're going to make one that has a design cut into it. Okay, let's start. So we'll need to get our potato and cut it in half. So I've got a potato cut in half. Now on one half, I'm going to stick a cookie cutter into it. Now you've got to press it in quite hard. If it doesn't go in right the first time, do it again. But you want to press it in quite a fair way. It is hard because the potatoes are firm, of course, because they're not cooked, and you don't want them cooked because it won't work. Once you've got your cookie cutter in like this, we need to cut away the design. So that takes a little while to do. I'm not going to do it, but your design will look like that with a raised design of the cookie cutter. This is a Christmas tree, and it will look like this when you print it. Now the other one we're going to do is an indented design, which will look like this. This one you cut into the potato itself and cut out your design. Now the design I've made is a leaf design pattern, so it looks a bit like this one. So when we print it, the bits which are cut in will be white. Okay, let's begin printing. Okay, so we're going to begin to make our wrapping paper. I've got a piece of brown paper here, and I've got the potato which I cut the Christmas tree out of. So I've got some paint here, so we're just going to use a sponge, and I'm just going to dab some paint onto it. You don't want too much paint. Once you've dabbed your paint on, then you just need to stick it down onto the paper like so, and then lift it up so it makes a tree shape. Let's do that again. So again, just dabbing some paint onto it. You can do it randomly, or you can make a design. I'm just going to do this random. I'll just do a couple just to show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to do one more. So one more with the green. I'll try one more tree. So you just need to keep going until you've done all the surface of the paper that you want to do. Now I'm just going to pop this out the way to dry. And the other piece of paper I'm going to use for the other stamp is some tissue paper. Now this stamp is the one that has the design cut into it, so it looks a bit like this one here. I've got a sponge again. Now what I need to do this time when I'm sponging is just sponge the top, don't sponge the bits that I've cut, because we want those to say white when we stamp it. But again, you need to dab your paint on like so. You don't want too much paint, but you do need some so that you'll get a nice print. If you don't have enough, it won't give it a good print. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on. And again, you can make it a random print, or you could do it in design. Let's have a go. So I'm just going to lay that down. So pressing it down and then lifting it up. So that one's come out quite nicely. Let's do that again. This is a good one to do with kids because It's lots of fun to make wrapping paper, and it's lots of fun to do stamping with paint. Children love doing things with paint. And it's really easy and inexpensive. So again, I'm going to do just a couple more, just to show you. One more, just to quickly show you. There we go. So it looks quite good on the white paper. So again, it looks like this, and you could do as much or as little as you want, or you could stamp it with both stamps on the one piece of paper. Okay, thanks everyone. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these simple ideas of how to make Christmas wrapping and how to wrap up items. Don't forget we have lots of books in the library on different types of craft. See you all next time. Bye!